speaker today is Jill Allbrandt. Jill began her first focus as an engineer and then started moving in many other directions, and she is so far from being an engineer, you wouldn't even really think that she started out as an engineer. She has explored many areas of what's called kinesiology, muscle checking, in tremendous depth. She now does an area called quantum field clearing as one of her primary methods of working with her clients. She's been a member of the church for a long time, and she's been president of the board for many years. And let's all welcome Jill.
As I say almost every time I come up here, if you want to learn something, just say, yeah, I'll talk at the fellowship about that. Because all manner of lesson comes at you once you've said that. So you are going to be the recipient of that, I hope. I'm talking today about seeing divine order, and I can tell you the reading they put in here, pretty much sums that up. So you can go now. And when I say seeing divine order, I also mean any way that you can perceive divine order. See, hear, taste, smell, whatever it is, you can see that every day if you are paying attention. So I'd like you to imagine, because I think most of you already do imagine this, that really everything is already in divine order. Most of the time, however, it doesn't really look that way or perhaps feel that way because, so many things are so very uncomfortable, whether they're good for us or not. And so, it doesn't appear that way. But if we imagine that it can be, and we set our intention that it is, and imagine the divine, how does the divine get our attention? Well, that would be any way that the divine can get our attention. And if things are going along swimmingly, then we're just riding that boat down the creek, right? Everything's good, not really paying attention. So the divine needs to get our attention in whatever way it can. And so, let's say it puts a rock in that creek, stops your boat, so you'll, notice something. And so that it appears that there's something wrong because your boat crashed on a rock, when it really is the divine attempting to get your attention. As in any problem we have in life is the divine getting our attention. I consider the universe working something like a interconnected web of energy, that divine energy that is in and through each one of us. And when we want something, we pull on one of those threads, and then that comes to us through our thoughts, our actions. Well, when we have a thought or action that isn't in the line with divine love, that'll come too. That's phrased, be careful what you ask for, because it may actually come. It may not always be what you had expected it to be. So good or bad comes at you no matter what. This comes in the form of the people you interact with every day, the symptoms you have in your body. That divine energy, that web, knows us so very well and loves us so very well that the divine wants us to choose love every time, all the time. And how does does that divine energy do that if we're not listening? How can that divine energy get us to make that choice each time when we have free will? And we can choose to be hateful if we want to. How does that happen? It has to get our attention. Teaching us, this divine energy teaches us through our experiences every day. Everybody that we interact with every day is part of that web, bringing us information, getting our attention. But also our bodies are part of that communication system. And so any symptom that you might have might also be that rock in the creek to get your attention. Because I consider that every symptom you have has a message attached to it. Whether that message is why you got that symptom or something that you need to learn, it just depends. The divine, in my opinion, of course, decides the first time to give you a message through meditation, through a silent moment. You might hear a voice or feel an intention. And so if you're listening, you get the message in meditation. If you're not listening, then maybe the next thing will be a dream, or that irritating neighbor over your back fence might tell you what you need to do. Or that coworker that is incessantly talking to you all the time comes out with a gem that maybe that gets your attention. The dream would be, a review of your day, as most dreams are. And that feeling of love you feel in the dream over the message that's being given. And if you take that, then that's where that stays. But if you ignore that and the irritating neighbor over the back fence, then divine has to step up the message giving, has to make a bigger rock in your stream. So what's the divine energy to do if you're not listening? It may send a symptom to you. An irritation at first with a dream. Maybe next time it's a sharp pain with a friend discussing what to do about those situations. That will help you choose love instead of fear. Then when you ignore that and choose fear all the same, then the divine energy can send a number of things to get your attention, like a car accident or a stroke, a thief to steal something that's valued to you, or someone to steal your life. I saw a Buddha quote that says, "Everyone is the author of their own health or disease." Now I believe that no one would give themselves a disease on purpose. I certainly wouldn't. I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't. But the system we live in is divine. But if we can't hear what divine is telling us, then the divine gives us greater physical symptoms to get our attention so that we go inward, so we can hear that small voice. But the voice of the divine is that small voice at first. But then that still small voice has to begin yelling with greater and greater symptoms if we're talking physical systems. Our society really doesn't train us to go inward when we have a symptom. It trains us to go to a doctor, which is even more of an external voice than our own. Not to say that doctors aren't good, I do think they are very good. I know that I tend to use mine to help me until I figure out what it is the problem is. Absolutely. And I also believe that working hand in hand with your doctor and meditating and going in, you can use what the doctor would do for you as a tool. You fix the source of the problem, and the doctor can cut out the rest of whatever is the problem, or, whatever treatment they might have for you will subside the physical while you take care of the spiritual source of the issue itself. I have to say that because, I don't have to say that. What I mean is, I don't want to make it appear that I don't go to doctors, because I do. But I also think that the communication through your doctor is a secondary step away from the source of who you are and what you are. So I'm encouraging you to listen to yourself and your body. Our bodies are the vehicle we have for this lifetime. The trouble we have with that interconnected system is that there's so many details that we can't often figure out exactly which one is the right one to follow. It's kind of like if a tree was growing in a desert, it wouldn't be that hard to find. But one tree, one specific tree in a forest, that would be a lot harder to find. And that's what it feels like when you have a symptom and you can't find the source of the symptom. It's like you're looking for a tree, only there they all are, and you can't really distinguish which one is the one that's going to help you. So the way that it starts is that you notice your symptom. Because I don't know if you've noticed yourself, but sometimes I've had a symptom so long, it seems like just what I am, rather than something that's external or a problem. And so first thing is that you have to notice that you're having a symptom. Really lucky that's not vodka, like Tom's. That would be problematic. So this whole thing starts with noticing, because the whole system is based on you paying attention to the divine that's everywhere in your world, you paying attention to your body and your symptoms. So that first step is noticing that you even have a symptom. And secondly, you want to be very clear about what the symptom is. Describe it to yourself in detail. What it feels like, if you can see it, what it looks like, any emotion attached to it. And sometimes you want to write that down. It just depends on the symptom. But my experience is that sometimes I can see my symptom, or I should say sometimes I see my symptom, and other times I simply tolerate them. So, we do it when we can, right? So when you're ready, I'm pretty sure there's a symptom that you have that you can look into. But my recent experience is that I had an issue with my lungs. I couldn't catch my breath. It's like I didn't have full capacity with my lungs. And sometimes my chest would clutch badly at my sternum. And I had a reading quite a while back with David Berry that said that, discussed this lung issue, which I must say recently he reminded me that I had this issue. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Because I see my problem as sinus. Well, it really starts with my lungs. And so one day I noticed that I was heading upstairs to talk to my husband about something that I knew he wasn't going to be that happy about, if you know what I mean. And as I was going to him, I realized wow, I can't hardly catch my breath. And I realized, oh, it's the stress. Even though it's a fairly small stress, because what I was doing was, because normally talking to my husband is not a stressful activity, but I was going to talk to him about going to a board meeting in San Francisco with the group, another group I'm with. And the stress was up until the point I mentioned, oh yeah, they're paying for it. So, not as stressful as it might have been, but just the idea that he really doesn't like it when I'm gone. You know, he loves me, he wants me there. But just that little amount of stress it's like it took my lungs away. We have one flight upstairs. I'm like, and what's going on? Well, it's the stress. It's a certain kind of stress. And that was when I noticed, oh, okay, that's it. So in the whole scheme of things, even though that wasn't very stressful, I found it fascinating how much I couldn't catch my breath. And then I realized, oh yeah, I have a way of getting that information that I need from the inner light consciousness material and the meditation that is with that. I can ask a question when I'm in my temple at the top of my mountain, and I will get an answer. Because sometimes we forget the tools that we have, where we tolerate the symptoms that we have, and don't use the tools on ourselves. Particularly if you're healers. Healers, do you really ever heal yourselves? I mean, we work on ourselves periodically, but you'd think we'd be the shining beacon of health, and yet for some reason we don't address our own issues. So this reminded me that I actually have the tool. So in meditation, I drew my attention to my chest and my lungs. And what I saw, what came to me, was essentially a battle axe coming into my chest. And I'm sorry if that's very graphic, but there it is, full force. The energy of that enemy in a past life coming and putting that axe in my chest. Well, I was a warrior, and I was on a righteous cause. I'm going to do right, I am right, this is it. And let's just say the other side, I'm sure, had the same feeling that they were right and I was wrong, and the energy of that axe coming into me left me with the energetic imprint of when I am on a righteous cause, then here comes that axe, I am wrong. Wrong. I have experienced that really throughout my life, because you know how you can think you're absolutely right, and then sometimes you're actually not right, for one, and then even if you are, the other guy thinks completely different than you do. And so, if you're getting the drift here, it's that I am right. The other person's wrong, so very wrong. And the point is that there is no real right or wrong. It is only really what is. But the message I got from this vision was that when I feel righteously right, then I will be blindsided and I will die. So I've been carrying that energy all this time. And so when I interact with a I am right, you're wrong, I actually have difficulty catching my breath, thus not expressing myself truly and peacefully. And so I found that also very fascinating. Here I am, opening my life. There I am. So what I did in that meditation was to, first of all, take that image, take that impression, the feelings I had in my chest, and offer them to my altar in my temple, giving them to God, essentially, releasing them from myself, freeing myself of them, so that God can transmute those feelings, that pain, into something more loving. to release that from me. See there, I have a full breath. Releasing that from me so that I can speak my truth freely and openly. So, and then when I think once that's released, God has transmuted that, I am released from the attachment of that energy. And so then I take a moment to think of that person in my past life. It could be your present life, but in my past life. And I think, I'm going to take all the power you took from me, all my life energy back and bring it back into me. And I imagine that coming back into my chest and filling my chest where the hole was. Breath is good. And then I release any energy that other person gave to me in that incident. And so I imagine that going back to that person. Because any interaction is an energetic exchange. And when we're in such a heated one, there's a lot of energy exchange. And so see all of that other person's energy going back to them. And oh yes, with love. Love and light. So throughout my life, I can tell you, and I assume some of you might relate to this, is that, we believe we're right. Sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. And the only truth is, there isn't any right or wrong. It is only what is. So as I noticed that once I went back into my chest, I noticed that I still had clutching in my throat. And so I looked into my throat, and I saw a different past life where I was being strangled by a friend. Sorry. There it is. And that friend had betrayed me, obviously, if they were strangling me. And I had to take his life in order to save mine. Sorry, I don't know where this is going from.
Taking a breath, it's fine.
Breath, I love breath, yes. So then when I feel betrayed, then my throat clutches. And again, I cannot express my truth peacefully. So again, I take that energy that I feel around my throat and I offer it up to my altar in my temple. And feel the release of God taking on what I have been holding so long. And again, looking at this past life, I take back the energy that incident took from me. I take that back in, I watch it, I feel it come back into me. Breath. And then I release and give back the energy of the other person with love. And when that's done, I notice how much more open my throat feels. There's a warmth and an openness, thus allowing me to speak more freely and more peacefully. So once you've been able to release that sort of energy from your body, and even more than the release of knowing that you can get the kind of information that you need to release through meditation, that's quite a freeing activity, knowing that you can get the information And then free yourself of the pain, discomfort, of whatever happens. So you notice the symptom, you describe it in detail. Notice which symptom gets your attention, because that's the first one you should address. And then you go to your temple, up the mountain, and bring your attention to that symptom. And there's going to be information there. And it's going to come to you, whether it's right there at that moment or that irritating neighbor over the back fence. It will come to you. Maybe you'll read a magazine about it. It will come. If you know that it will come, it will. And it will come in the way that you can hear it, see it, or know it. However that is, it is unique to you, it's unique to me. But know that it is coming. And for those that haven't done it a lot, allow yourself to be bad at it for a while. But keep trying, because as with, we don't expect to step up to a piano and start playing the first time we address the keys. We know we have to practice to get better at it. Why do we think that meditation is something we should already be good at? It's a skill. And we have to train ourselves over and over and over with the faith that you know that you'll gain more skill. Yeah, some of us will be a concert pianist at meditation. Others will be able to plunk out happy birthday for their kid or whatever. I mean, it's just, everybody's going to be at a different level. But if you find what drives you, what moves you, you'll find the right meditation form for you. Just keep trying. So then, after you get an image or the knowledge of the symptom, then tell yourself the truth about the system. Because my two examples were me in a battle, which was quite normal at that time. But I was in a battle, I was a warrior. The other time, I don't know what I did or didn't do that made this friend betray me. But be willing to be the bad guy in the situation. Because if you can't tell yourself the truth about that situation, the truth and the relief from the symptoms will avoid you. Because when you're talking truth, truth is divine. It is love. It will, truth is kind, but not always that comfortable. You know what I mean? That sometimes when you hear the truth, you're not liking it that much, because the ego doesn't like to be told it's wrong. But the love that you will hear through this meditation, it won't necessarily be the first thing that you hear. If it comes across what society would tell you, I would take a second look, just to make sure that you are asking the source of your being, that part of you that is connected to the all, that has all information. If you're asking your ego, you're going to hear what you want to hear. It's not going to help you a great deal. The source of your being, when you say those words and mean exactly that where you came from, that's the intention that will take you to that part of you that made you, that will give you the truth. And sometimes you'll hear what you really don't want to deal with. But there it is. It's for you to face and deal with. Hearing the truth is part of taking responsibility for your actions, your feelings, and your beliefs. Because sometimes the exchange that you do is from a belief you have. Because when are growing up, sometimes you take on beliefs that get you through in life. If I'm quiet, my mom won't yell at me so much. So you have a belief that if you're quiet, nobody will yell at you, which of course is not true. But it's a belief, and so sometimes you have to take your power back from that belief and release that belief to God. So, now that you can hear truth from the source, then you can move to determine what or who you exchange your power to. Thus the beliefs. Sometimes it's a place, sometimes it's a situation. We all give our power to people, places, the beliefs I just mentioned, so that we can get along in life better. We make these little energetic deals as we grow up. If we're two and our mom is really mad at us, we say, we're going to be really quiet so mom won't be so mad. Well, mom is screaming so that you'll do what she wants you to do. It's this little power exchange. Well, sometimes that's a place. Sometimes when there's difficulty in a childhood home. Sometimes you have to take your power back from your home. So within the meditation, you can see or feel who or what you need to exchange your power with. So now you know the focus. Once you get that idea of what you need to exchange with, then you have the focus. And now with your intention, you visualize or feel your power coming back from that person. And take a breath and feel how that feels to be different. And then give that power, their power back to them with love. And take another breath and feel how that feels. And that process can release you from the discomfort you have in your body, the pain you have in situations. It can free you, absolutely free you. So now you're free from those strings that bind you to the negative energy exchange from the other person or the situation. And you have a message that the divine was trying to get to you all this time. Because somewhere in that meditation, you'll hear or see or feel something that you weren't hearing before. Like, it just is. It's not right or wrong. It just is. How many times am I going to have to learn that one in this lifetime? Maybe if I keep paying attention. So does that mean we shame a person with a disease? Absolutely not. Because you know what? We're just like them. We ignore our messages, absolutely, all the time. But we can rejoice in knowing that we have a way to get that message if we choose to have it, that maybe you didn't have before. So remember that some of these lessons are from past lives, that meditation can bring you within this lifetime. It's not always past. Or you get the vision of what happened in this lifetime that you took on the energy from your past life. And you work on it in this lifetime. And then either it's resolved in the past or it will come in a different way to resolve in the past. Another way. Some lessons are so deep-seated that we can't get at them through the normal channels of thought or self-examination. Sometimes they have to hit you hard to get your attention. And that would be step one, is noticing how you feel. But that to me is the divine order of it all, because that this interconnected web gives us information all the time. And our job is to listen, whether it's really to the irritating guy over the back fence, or a magazine you're reading and it's drawn your attention. Listen to what it has to say. Because even when things are bad, like your boat gets hooked up on a rock, there's very likely to be something good in it for you. As I said, the reading today is a summary of because even in the worst possible scenario, there's value in it. And a lot of times that comes back a lesson for you. But if you have your ego involved in it, then you're never going to get the message. So, I encourage you to listen. And if you'd like to practice this in a group, I will be doing a inner light consciousness workshop soon. And let me know if you'd be interested. It would be a Friday through, and then sometime on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. So it's open to everyone. Please see me if you'd like to go, so that you can come and see how the divine works for you every day. So thank you so much.